Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I note that the hour has come and that a quorum of council is present. I will ask that all members take their seats and all visitors please retire to the seats outside the rails. Before proceeding, I will ask all those present to please set your cell phones to silent or vibrate, and I will ask that all sidebar conversations be held outside the chambers. To give our invocation this morning, the chair recognizes Pastor Franz Ulysses of the First Haitian Church of God of Prophecy. He is here today as the guest of Majority Leader Catherine Gilmore Richardson. I will ask all members and guests to please rise.
Good morning. Let us pray. God of justice and mercy, thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of our city. We pray for wisdom, for strength, courage, to do what is right and good for all citizens. May we put the interests of others above our own. May we act with love for the common good. May we be good neighbors, recognizing your image in every person here and around the city of brotherly love. We thank you again for this council, our mayor, our city staff, our first responders, our hospital staff, and those who work to make this place we call home such a wonderful city. May every decision be righteous in your sight. May your benefit and for your glory. This is our prayer in the name of Almighty God, who perfect love set us free from all our fears. Amen.
Council will now be at ease. The chair thanks the pastor for the invocation. Pastor get finished speaking, I want to start.
Miguel has the. Yes, thank you.
Hey, Liz.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? Great. Excellent, actually. Excellent. No complaints.
You have someone that could get them for you? I can't find it. I'd be speaking in tongues without my voice. It's not fair.
The next order of business is the approval of the journal of the meeting of Thursday, November the 14th, 2024. The chair recognizes Councilmember Cindy Bass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the journal of the meeting of Thursday, November 14th, 2024 be approved.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the journal of the meeting of Thursday, November the 14th, 2024 stand approved. All those in favor will indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the journal is approved. The next order of business is request for leave of absence, and the chair recognizes Councilman Gilmore Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the members of council, a leave of absence is requested for Councilmember O'Neill.
The chair thanks the council member. Leave will be granted. The chair recognizes Minority Whip Nicholas Schwartz.
Thank you, Council President. There are no requests for leave of absence today.
Thank you very much. The chair thanks the council member. The chair now recognizes Majority Leader Gilmore Richardson for a motion concerning certain legislative matters that may arise during the course of today's session of council and that were not listed on the calendar circulated prior to today's council session.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that any of the following matters, if considered today, may be added to the agenda for this session of council, and as required by law, subsequently published on an amended agenda after the consideration of those matters. Resolutions authorizing hearings, amendments to bills on first reading, the reconsideration of a bill vetoed by or recalled from the mayor, amendments to bills recalled from the mayor, resolutions taking substantive action to be voted on in this session, a motion to withdraw a bill or resolution that is not on the calendar, and a motion placing a bill or resolution on or returning a bill or resolution from the suspension calendar that is not listed on today's calendar. The purpose of this motion is to provide the public with notice concerning possible actions by council that arose too late to be included on the calendar that was published prior to today's session.
Is there a second? It has been moved and properly second that the legislative matters stated by Councilmember Majority Leader Gilmore Richardson may be added to the agenda for today should those matters arise during the course of this session of council. All those in favor will indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the motion carries. The chair will dispense with the regular order of business to recognize the guests and visitors joining us in the chambers this morning. On behalf of all members of City Council, I welcome you to our council session. We appreciate your taking the time to join us as we attend the legislative affairs of our great city. We certainly invite you to come again. There being no presentations today, the next order of business is communications. The chair requests that the Sergeant at Arms deliver the messages from the mayor to the chief clerk. Will the chief clerk please read the messages from the mayor and any other communications in her possession?
To the President and members of the Council of the City of Philadelphia, I am submitting herewith for the consideration of your honorable body the following proposed ordinance. An ordinance authorizing transfers and appropriations for fiscal year 2024 from the general fund from certain or all city offices, departments, boards, and commissions, the water fund from certain or all city offices, departments, boards, and commissions, the grants revenue fund from certain or all city offices, departments, boards, and commissions, and the transportation fund from certain or all city offices, departments, boards, and commissions, to the general fund to certain or all city offices, departments, boards, and commissions, to the water fund to certain or all city offices, departments, boards, and commissions, and to the transportation fund to certain or all city offices, departments, boards, and commissions. And a resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of 320 North 41st Street and 323 North Holly Street located in the 3rd Councilmatic District in accordance with the terms of Chapter 16-700 of the Philadelphia Code. And a resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of 3862 and 3864 Pensgrove Street and 1118 North 39th Street located in the 3rd Councilmatic District in accordance with the terms and conditions of Chapter 16-700 of the Philadelphia Code. And a resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of 2518, 2522, 2525, 2530, 2561 North Dover Street, 2544, 2600, 2603, 2611, 2640, 2710, 2837, 2931, 2935, 3019, 3021, 3027, 3029, 3031, and 3039 West Oakdale Street. 2423, 2425, 2437, 2446, 2468, 2469, 2501, 2502, 2505, 2506, 2513, 2516, 2517, 2526, 2529, 2539, 2542, 2556, 2567, 2609, 2620, 2621, and 2626 North Stanley Street, located in the 5th Councilmanic District in accordance with the terms of Chapter 16-700 of the Philadelphia Code. There are no other communications in my possession, Council President.
Thank you. The messages will be printed in the journal. The chair recognizes the presence of Councilmember Isaiah Thomas and Councilmember Mark Squilla. The next order of business is the introduction of bills and resolutions. The chair recognizes Councilmember Phillips.
Thank you, Council President. Good morning, colleagues, and good morning, viewing public. I have no bills or resolutions for introduction today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The chair recognizes Majority Leader Richardson.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. Today I offer 3 resolutions. 2 are privileged, 1 on your behalf, and 1 non-privileged resolution on your behalf.
Thank you very much. Would the Chief Clerk please read the resolutions?
A privileged resolution recognizing November 17th through the 23rd, 2024 as National Apprenticeship Week in the city of Philadelphia.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar.
And a non-privileged resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Land Bank a deed conveying title to 2123 Fernan Street, located in the 2nd Councilmanic District pursuant to the requirements of the Commonwealth Land Bank Act.
This resolution will be placed on the final passage calendar for consideration at our next session of council.
And a non-privileged resolution renaming the 2100 block of Alter Street Honorable Harold James Way in honor of Pennsylvania House of Representative Harold James for his exemplary leadership, dedication to public service, and lasting contributions to the people of Philadelphia.
This resolution will be placed on the final passage calendar for consideration at our next session of council. The chair recognizes Councilman Jamie Gauthier.
Good morning, Council President. Today I have 1 bill and 1 non-privileged resolution.
Thank you very much. Will the Chief Clerk please read the title of the bill and resolution?
An ordinance authorizing encroachments in the nature of a sidewalk cafe in the vicinity of 229 South 45th Street, Philadelphia, PA 19104, under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee.
And a non-privileged resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of 320 North 41st Street and 323 North Holly Street, located in the 3rd Councilmanic District, in accordance with the terms of Chapter 16-700 of the Philadelphia Code.
This resolution will be placed on the final passage calendar for consideration at our next session of council. The chair recognizes Majority Whip Isaiah Thomas.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning to the listening public. Nothing today, Council President.
Good morning. The chair recognizes Councilmember Curtis Jones.
Mr. President, colleagues, nothing today.
The chair recognizes Councilman Ruland Dow.
Good morning, Council President and colleagues. This morning I have 3 privileged resolutions and 1 on Minority Leader Kendra Brooks's behalf.
Thank you very much. Will the clerk please read the title of the resolutions?
A privileged resolution declaring November 13th through November 19th, 2024 as Transgender Awareness Week and November 20th as Transgender Day of Remembrance in the city of Philadelphia.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar.
And a privileged resolution authorizing the Committee on Law and Government to hold hearings exploring Philadelphia's readiness and commitment to protecting immigrant, LGBTQ+, and other marginalized communities in advance of the impending Trump administration.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar.
And a privileged resolution honoring the life and legacy of David Ramler, Chair of the Philadelphia Fair Housing Commission, for his tenacious and lifelong commitment to social justice, housing equity, and impact on the lives of Philadelphians.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. Good job, Councilman Rulon Dow. The chair recognizes Councilman Ketty Lozada.
There's one more, sorry. There's one more. I have one more to read, I'm sorry. A privileged resolution honoring the life and legacy of Robert Schwartz, the co-founder and former executive director of the Juvenile Law Center, and recognizing his lifelong dedication to juvenile justice and youth rights on a national and international level.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. The chair recognizes Councilman Ketty Lozada.
Thank you, Council President. I have no bills and no resolutions today.
Thank you very much. The chair recognizes Councilmember Jeffrey J. Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today I offer one bill and three privileged resolutions.
Thank you very much. Will the chief clerk please read the title of the bill and resolutions?
An ordinance amending Title 15 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Parks and Recreation by adding a new section 15-606 and new section 15-706 to establish animal-free areas and provide for the management of animals in parks, playgrounds, and recreation centers, and to provide for penalties and enforcement, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee.
And a privileged resolution thanking Temple University for becoming the first university in Philadelphia region to deploy gun detection technology to boost safety.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar.
And a privileged resolution recognizing the Philadelphia Black Women's Health Alliance for their 40 years of service to Philadelphia communities.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar.
And a privileged resolution recognizing ordinary heroes for their work engaging Black and brown youth in the Hunting Park community.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. The chair recognizes Councilmember Jim Harity.
Good afternoon, good morning, whatever it is right now, Council President. I have nothing today.
Thank you very much, Chairman, Mr. Harity. The chair recognizes Minority Whip Nicholas O'Rourke.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, all. Today we have nothing.
Thank you very much. The chair recognizes Councilman Mike Driscoll.
Morning, Mr. President. One privileged resolution today.
Thank you very much. Will the chief clerk please read the title of the privileged resolution?
A privileged resolution honoring Leslie Richards for her service to the residents of the city of Philadelphia and surrounding area during her tenure as general manager and CEO of the Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. The chair recognizes Councilmember Jeffrey J. Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to ensure that the bill that I introduced was also read into the record, that's all. The bill that we introduced as well, I just want to make sure it was read into the record. I don't know if we heard the bill introduced.
Yeah, I got it, yeah.
It was read. Thank you very much. The chair recognizes Councilmember Cindy Bass. Councilmember Bass, you'd like to be recognized?
No.
Okay, your light is on. That's why I'm reaching out. All right, let's do this. Let me go back. The chair recognizes Councilmember Squilla.
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer two bills, one on your behalf.
Thank you very much. Will the chief clerk read the title of the bills?
An ordinance authorizing encroachments in the nature of a sidewalk cafe in the vicinity of 1148 through 50 South 11th Street, Philadelphia, PA 19147 under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee.
And an ordinance authorizing transfers and appropriations for fiscal year 2024 from the general fund for certain or all city offices, departments, boards, and commissions, the water fund from certain or all city offices, departments, boards, and commissions, the grants revenue fund from certain or all city offices, departments, boards, and commissions, and the transportation fund from certain or all city offices, departments, boards, and commissions, to the general fund to certain or all city offices, departments, boards, and commissions, to the water fund to certain or all city offices, departments, boards, and commissions, and to the transportation fund to certain or all city offices, departments, boards, and commissions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee. Council be at ease. Chair recognizes Councilmember Cindy Bass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll offer 3 privileged resolutions.
Thank you very much. Will the Chief Clerk please read the title of the privileged resolutions?
A privileged resolution honoring the Simon Gratz High School football team for winning the 2024 Public League Championship and celebrating their resilience and excellence.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar.
And a privileged resolution honoring Central High School for winning the 2024 PIAA District 12 AAA team title for the 4th consecutive year and celebrating their impressive sweep of team, singles, and doubles championships.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar.
And a privileged resolution honoring Imhotep Charter High School for winning the 2024 Public League 6A and PIAA District 7 football championships and celebrating their legacy of excellence.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. Look like the 8th Councilmanic District making moves. The Chair recognizes Councilmember Dr. Nina Ahmad.
Thank you, Council President. I have 2 privileged resolutions.
Thank you very much. Will the Chief Clerk please read the title of the privileged resolutions?
A privileged resolution recognizing the critical need for the City of Philadelphia to address vacancies in public safety positions, especially school crossing guards, to protect the well-being of its residents and uphold the city's commitment to community security.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. Thank you, Dr. Ahmad.
And a privileged resolution recognizing the critical importance of vaccinations for the children in Philadelphia.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. The next order of business is reports from committees. The Chair recognizes Councilmember Jeffrey J. Young for a report from the Committee on Streets and Services.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee on Streets and Services reports out 11 bills with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Will the Chief Clerk please read the title of the report?
The Committee on Streets and Services, to which were referred the following bills. Bill 240644, an ordinance amending Title 10 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Regulation of Individual Conduct and Activity by adding prohibitions and penalties related to litter near mobile provider of goods, all under certain terms and conditions. And 240876, an ordinance establishing parking regulations in the vicinity of Point Breeze Avenue between Moore Street and Mifflin Street, Rosewood Street between Jackson Street and Wolf Street, Doran Street between Snyder Avenue and McKean Street, Garnett Street between Snyder Avenue and McKean Street, Mifflin Street between South 20th Street and South 21st Street, Chadwick Street between Jackson Street and Passyunk Avenue, South 22nd Street between McKean Street and Mifflin Street, Mifflin Street between South 30th Street and South 29th Street, Colorado Street between Snyder Avenue and McKean Avenue, and 240877, an ordinance establishing parking regulations in the vicinity of Mifflin Street between South 23rd Street and South 22nd Street, South 21st Street between Moore Street and Mifflin Street, Vivier Street between McKean Street and Snyder Avenue, South 15th Street between Snyder Avenue and Jackson Street, Hicks Street between Moore Street and Morris Street, Mifflin Street between South 19th Street and South 18th Street, Hicks Street between Jackson Street and Snyder Avenue, Dudley Street between South 18th Street and South 19th Street, Mole Street between Jackson Street and Snyder Avenue, Lambert Street between McKean Street and Mifflin Street, and 240878, an ordinance establishing a parking regulation on Corley Street between Tasker Street and Morris Street, Wilder Street between 21st Street and 20th Street, Myrtlewood Street between Dickinson Street and Tasker Street, Alter Street between South 18th Street and South 17th Street, South 17th Street between Tasker Street and Morris Street, South 16th Street between Morris Street and Tasker Street, Hicks Street between Morris Street and Tasker Street, Titan Street between South 20th Street and Point Breeze Avenue, South 16th Street between Tasker Street and Dickinson Street, South 16th Street between Reed Street and Morton Street, and 240879, an ordinance establishing parking regulation on Garnett Street between Snyder Avenue and McKean Street, Wharton Street between South 24th Street and South 25th Street, Bucknell Street between Oakford Street and Federal Street, Cleveland Street between Dickinson Street and Tasker Street, Dickinson Street between South 24th Street and South 23rd Street, Dickinson Street between South 22nd Street and South 23rd Street, South 32nd Street between Grace Ferry Avenue and Wharton Street, Morris Street between South 21st Street and South 20th Street, Dudley Street between South 19th Street and South 20th Street, South 21st Street between Morris Street and Moore Street, and 240880, an ordinance establishing a parking regulation on Elmwood Street between South 63rd Street and South 64th Street, Greenway Avenue between South 59th Street and South 60th Street, South 67th Street between Greenway Avenue and Upland Street, Yoakum Street between Lloyd Street and South 72nd Street, Grays Avenue between South 62nd Street and South 63rd Street, Dewey Street between Elmwood Avenue and Buste Avenue, South 61st Street between Buste Avenue and Elmwood Avenue, 22nd Street between Dickinson Street and Reed Street, Ellsworth Street between South 18th Street and South 17th Street, Tasker Street between Point Breeze and South 23rd Street, and 240881, an ordinance authorizing the striking from city plan numbers 292 and 321, and the abandonment of a certain right-of-way reserved for gas main purposes located along the southwesterly side of Ashburner Street, southeast of Hegerman Street, and ascending southwestwardly therefrom under certain terms and conditions. And 241026, an ordinance amending Section 2 of an ordinance, Bill Number 220188, approved on August 31st, 2022, entitled an ordinance authorizing the striking from City Plan Number 269, and abandonment of a portion of a certain right-of-way for drainage purposes and water main purposes in the vicinity of the northwesterly side of Civic Center Boulevard, northeast of Osler Circle under certain terms and conditions, by extending the period for compliance with the terms and conditions stated therein. And 241027, an ordinance authorizing Postle Woodland Associates LP or a subsequent owner to install, own, and maintain an encroachment at 4116 through 18 Chester Avenue, Philadelphia, PA 19104, under certain terms and conditions. And 241028, an ordinance amending Chapter 12-2700 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Permit Parking Districts by changing certain boundaries and establishing new permit parking districts, all under certain terms and conditions. And 241030, an ordinance amending Chapter 12-3400 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Use of an Automated Speed Enforcement System to Improve Safety by providing for the use, administration, and enforcement of automated speed cameras on State Route 13 within the boundaries of Philadelphia and amending the internet website notice requirement, all under certain terms and conditions. Respectfully reports it has considered the same and returns the attached bills to council with a favorable recommendation. There are no further bills to report from the Committee on Streets and Services, Council President.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Young for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the bill just reported out of committee today rules of council be suspended to permit the bills read today on this day into the record by the chief clerk. Sorry, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that the rules of council be suspended to permit the first reading of these bills read today by the chief clerk. Excuse me.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the rules of council be suspended so as to permit the consideration of the bills just read by the chief clerk at today's session of council. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. These bills will be placed on our first reading calendar for today. The next order of business is the consideration of the calendar. I note that the bills just reported from the committees with the suspension of the rules have been deemed to have had a first reading. These bills will be placed on the second reading and final passage calendar for the next session of council. As there are no additional bills on the first reading calendar, the chair recognizes Majority Leader Gilmore Richardson for the purpose of calling up bills and resolutions on the second reading and final passage calendar.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following bills and resolutions are being called up from the second reading and final passage calendars today. Numbers 241066, 241067, 241068, 241069, 241074, 241075, and 240613-A. The following bills and resolutions on the calendar are being held: 240724, 240834, 240242, 240427, 240612, 240817, and 240304.
Thank you. Before considering these bills and resolutions, we will consider public comment as follows. Your public comment must concern matters on the second reading and final passage calendars for possible action at today's session of council. All speakers must sign up in order to testify. If you have not already signed up for today's session, please do so now by giving your name to Ms. Hassan at the table outside the rails to my left. Once you have signed up, you will be called in the order in which your name appears on the sign-up sheet. Under ideal circumstances, public commenters each will have 3 minutes to speak. However, this time limit may vary from session to session. With the additional list that we have today of individuals who will be speaking, the time limit will be 2 minutes. In order to be fair to all those wishing to speak, I intend to hold faithfully to the 2-minute limit. When you begin speaking, you will see a green light on the podium when there are 30 seconds remaining to your time. The light will turn yellow, which is your reminder to conclude your remarks. Once 2 minutes have passed, the light will turn red and the Sergeant at Arms will disconnect the microphone. At that point, please yield the podium to the next speaker if you have not done so already. I also reserve the right pursuant to our rules of council to limit repetitious comments on the same matter. I will now ask the Chief Clerk to please read the name of our first speaker. Council will be at ease as we acknowledge Councilmember Rue Landau.
Thanks so much, Council President, colleagues. Just for 1 second before public comment starts, I wanted to speak for a second on one of my resolutions that I introduced, honoring the life and legacy of Dave Ramler, who was the chair of the Fair Housing Commission. I'll say some more in my speech, but who I wanted to recognize today is his wife, Suzanne Young, who's in the audience right now, who likely will not speak during public comment, but to just have everybody recognize her on behalf of Dave, who made such a tremendous difference in the world of public interest law, social justice warrior and advocate who we lost way too soon. So Suzanne, if you want to
Suzanne, could you please stand? Thank you very much. Will the Chief Clerk please call the first person for public comment?
Bob Praviti, may Nico Meyering, Camille Bogan, Ashley Tracy, and Evan Borak also make their way to the podium?
You can begin.
Bob Praviti from Save the Train. Good morning, Council President Johnson, Councilwoman Bass, and all members of Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Bob Praviti, Policy Director for Save the Train Coalition. Save the Train is an ad hoc group with members from Nicetown, Germantown, Mount Airy, Chestnut Hill, formed to fight the closure of the Chestnut Hill West Regional Rail Line and other service cuts that will be necessary if the SEPTA's budget gap isn't closed. We want to offer our support for the resolution, asking Governor Shapiro to use flex funding to prevent a fare increase and service cuts. Late last year, we got a copy of SEPTA's doomsday map. It's a stark rendering of what service cuts we may face by the year 2030 if the agency continues down a death spiral of fare increases and service cuts. Our 8,000 members and 70 organizations from Northwest Philadelphia are frankly disappointed it's taking this long to get this job done. The mayor wants the city to be the cleanest and greenest city in the nation. I don't see how we can achieve that goal with a public transit system in decline. As we ask our members what prevents them from riding, two things come up over and over: frequency and crime. SEPTA's doing a lot of things to try to turn the ship around, but it needs more investment. On Monday, this city council held hearings about the readiness for 2026. 2026 presents a cataclysmic opportunity to make or break Philadelphia's image in the world stage. Paris invested in its public transit at the head of the Olympics. LA is doing the same. Philadelphia will be on the global spotlight in 2026. Are we ready? Without full funding, SEPTA will have to divert attention to balancing its books by cutting service and jeopardizing our ability to make a positive impression to the thousands of visitors in 2026. Therefore, we support the council's efforts to push the governor to get the job done and fix the current budget crisis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nico Meyering, Camille Bogan, Ashley Tracy, Evan Borak, and Jay Arzu also make their way to the podium.
Thank you. Sorry, can I begin?
You can begin.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Good morning, council members. My name is Nico Meyering. I support bill number 241075. I'm currently the chair of the Mayor's Disability Commission. I'm also the VP of an incredible nonprofit called Young Involved Philadelphia, and I speak today from both of those perspectives. Like many others, I rely on SEPTA to navigate my daily life as a younger disabled professional. I go from my home in Queen Village, beautiful neighborhood, to my job in Center City, again, beautiful neighborhood. I use SEPTA to visit museums, see my friends, make it to meetings, and most importantly, to my doctor visits as well. Moreover, disabled people like me use SEPTA every day to fully engage in this incredible city. That's why I'm here, right? I'm here to encourage you all to prioritize flex funding for SEPTA and to urge Governor Shapiro to use that flex funding. It's not just about transit, is it? It's about creating a safer and more accessible Philadelphia for everybody. First, public transit saves lives. Everyone knows this. Every time someone chooses SEPTA instead of driving, it reduces the number of cars on our streets. This is important for me, for my disabled guys, gals, and non-binary pals, because disabled people like me, and perhaps like some of you in the room today, are disproportionately affected by traffic violence. We die at very high numbers related to traffic deaths, and a fully functioning, well-equipped SEPTA can help us prevent those statistics from happening. Second, SEPTA is a lifeline for young and disabled Philadelphians like me. It's more than a bus or train, it's independence, right? Many of us, like me, don't have the time or means to take transit elsewhere. Again, please encourage the governor to use flex funding. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Camille Bogan. Good morning and thank you. I am a resident of District 2 in Point Breeze, as well as a trained transportation planning professional who has worked with SEPTA in the past. I don't own a car, I can't afford one, and rely on SEPTA and other forms of public transportation to get around the city. I want to start off by emphasizing how critical this moment is for the health and morale and well-being of our city. The time to debate this issue has long passed, and it is imperative that City Council step up and take action to ensure that Philadelphians can continue to get to work, to school, to the doctor, to buy groceries without disruptions and at an affordable cost. Without a well-funded, affordable, and reliable public transportation system, Philadelphia faces a severe crisis, not only in economic or educational opportunity, but public health and overall quality of life. Philadelphia is one of the top 10 major cities in the US with a large percentage, over a third, of households without a vehicle. Another third of Philadelphians rely on public transportation for commuting, and that number is even higher when we consider the non-work-related trips that people take every day, often multiple times a day, to pick up groceries, to pick up their kids from daycare, and to visit family and friends. The median cost of owning, insuring, and maintaining a personal vehicle in the US has soared to over $1,000 a month. In contrast, purchasing a full-price SEPTA TransPass each month adds up to just over $1,100 a year. We cannot expect Philadelphians to purchase a car with reduced or eliminated SEPTA service when they're already struggling to afford housing, groceries, and utilities. And additionally, many more Philadelphians are young and are elderly, also can't afford the cost of taxis and ride shares because they cannot drive and no longer have the option of a reliable bus or train service. The opportunity for Governor Shapiro to flex federal highway funding to transit is our absolute last chance to secure SEPTA's viability. Once service is cut and routes are eliminated, it will be a long, difficult, and expensive process to reinstate them. And we have known this moment was coming since the passing of Act 89 in 2013. And now that we are here, I'm urging Council to work together to identify revenue sources so that hundreds of thousands of people will not be left behind out of job and educational opportunities. Thank you.
Ashley Tracy, Evan Borak, Jay Arzu, and Andrea Bofus also make their way to the podium.
Good morning. I'm Ashley Tracy, Deputy Director of the Pennsylvania Bipartisan Climate Initiative, a Fishtown resident and near daily rider of the L. And I'm honored to speak today in support of Bill 241075. This measure is crucial to ensuring accessible and equitable public transportation for all Pennsylvanians. In this time of economic recovery and heightened climate concerns, any fare hikes or service cuts to SEPTA would disproportionately harm working families, widen inequalities, and undermine our shared progress towards sustainability. As a proud advocate of the Pennsylvania Environmental Rights Amendment, I understand the importance of reducing vehicle emissions to achieve city climate goals. A robust, well-funded public transit system like SEPTA not only alleviates congestion, but significantly curtails greenhouse gas emissions by providing a reliable alternative to single-occupancy vehicles. Moreover, under the ERA, every resident is entitled to clean air and a sustainable environment. Supporting public transit aligns directly with these constitutional values as it reduces pollution and fosters healthier communities. By reallocating federal infrastructure funds to SEPTA, Pennsylvania can demonstrate its commitment to balancing economic growth, environmental stewardship, and social equity. I urge this council to support the bill and send a unified message to our state leadership. Public transit is a necessity, not a luxury, and must remain affordable and accessible to all. I thank you for your time and to your dedication to the people of Philadelphia.
Hello, City Council. Thank you for your work in bringing this bill to the floor. I know every SEPTA rider is incredibly grateful for your work. I don't own a car, and I'm primarily reliant on SEPTA. The fare increases and service cuts proposed would be a significant burden on me. But this isn't about me. This is for my girlfriend's mom, whose low ridership route would very likely be on the chopping block during a service cut. She would no longer be able to come down for dinner in Chinatown, our favorite pastime, and would be cut off from visiting. This is about the hundreds of thousands of riders who cannot afford a service cut or fare increase, let alone both. Governor Shapiro said he won't let SEPTA fail, but letting this fare increase happen is failing not only SEPTA, but our city and Commonwealth too. When House Democrats said they would come back in the fall to negotiate transit funding, I was patient. When Spotlight PA reported Governor Shapiro was not prioritizing transit funding in budget talks, I had hope. Now is the time for immediate action. Not in the coming weeks, not in the next legislative session, now. I urge City Council to pass its resolution and for Governor Shapiro to act with the urgency we deserve. Thank you.
Jay Arzu, Andrea Bofis, Naomi Wildflower, Monica Robinson, and Mackenzie Long also make their way to the podium.
Good morning, City Council. My name is Jay Arzu, and I'm proud to call Philadelphia my home. I'm here today to strongly support Council President Johnson's Resolution 241075, urging Governor Shapiro to flex federal highway dollars to save SEPTA and invest in Philadelphia's future. SEPTA is the backbone of the city of brotherly love. It's how people get to work, attend school, access health care, stay connected to what's going on in their community. You know, it's something that's not only a service, it's a lifeline. But today, that lifeline is at risk. SEPTA is on the brink of a death spiral, facing drastic service cuts and fare increases unless we act decisively. The solution is clear and achievable. Yona Freemark of the Urban Institute reminds us that Pennsylvania has the power to flex federal highway funding to support transit, and in doing so, reallocate state and local funds to bolster SEPTA's operation. This would increase SEPTA's operating budget by 23%. Imagine the possibilities: stronger, more reliable service today, and the ability to pursue bold, transformative projects like Bus Revolution, reimagining regional rail, and the Roosevelt Boulevard subway. Projects that could create jobs, reduce congestion, and improve the quality of life for every Philadelphian. But this isn't just about numbers, it's about people. Without action, service cuts will disproportionately harm those who need transit most: families, seniors, students, and people with disabilities. I urge you to support Resolution 241075 and call on Governor Shapiro to act. Let's not just save SEPTA, let's build a stronger, fairer, and more connected Philadelphia. Council President, thank you for your time, your leadership, and your commitment to Philadelphia's future.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Andrea Bovche, and I'm here to support resolution number 241075. I am a resident of the Fishtown area. I do not drive, and I don't own a car, so I exclusively use public transit for my transportation needs. I have lived in Philadelphia without a car for 7 years. One of the great things about moving to Philadelphia was my ability to get around via public transportation, something that made regular life impossible where I used to live. I rely on the L every day to go to work at a mental health nonprofit. In the first few years of my jobs, I was using SEPTA to meet clients all over the city. I rely on the buses and trolleys for appointments, grocery shopping, or visiting family and friends across the city. If SEPTA does not receive flex funding and has to go with service cuts as planned, I don't really know what I'll do. It would greatly impact my ability to get to work and my general mobility. It would also harm my colleagues and neighbors who do drive, as the congestion and lack of parking they deal with will inevitably get worse as service cuts force SEPTA users to drive instead. And for those of us for whom choosing to drive isn't really an option, we will be stuck without access to basic services. On a larger scale, the lack of public transit will discourage our residents from exploring and investing in our city. I strongly encourage you to support the resolution on calling on Governor Shapiro to flex highway funding to save our public transportation and invest in Philadelphia's future. Thank you for your time.
Naomi Wildflower, Monica Robinson, Mackenzie Long, Jakai Moses, Kate Sullivan, and Teresa McLaughlin, and Jeremy Blackston also make their way to the podium.
Hi, my name is Naomi Wildflower. I'm a mom of 2 young kids. I live in Kensington. I support Resolution 241075, calling on Governor Shapiro to flex federal highway dollars to stop SEPTA's death spiral. I rely on SEPTA to drop my son off at preschool, to go to parks and restaurants, to church, to appointments, and to visit friends. Most of all, I use it on the weekends, when Jody Holton from SEPTA says the system will be basically unusable. Our family doesn't own a car, and instead we choose to rent or borrow one a few times a year. Our family's choice to use SEPTA, walk, ride bikes and scooters is not only healthy for us and the environment, it's beneficial for those who do drive, reducing congestion and parking problems for them. Even though I barely use state highways, a staggering amount of my tax dollars go toward them. So, highway flex funds should be used to support the hundreds of thousands of Pennsylvanians who rely on SEPTA, even if there are many more Pennsylvanians who don't use SEPTA at all. Should SEPTA's death spiral begin, my family's mobility in the region will be drastically reduced. We will spend less on local businesses and add to congestion and pollution by taking more ride shares or being forced to buy a car. Frankly, I would consider leaving Philly, my home since 2012. If these cuts go through, I'm a taxpayer, a homeowner, a landlord that provides affordable housing, and a social worker. I've been serving the most vulnerable in our city for over a decade. Were Philly to lose my family, it would be a significant loss to this city. Once again, I urge City Council to pressure Governor Shapiro to use flex federal highway funding to fund SEPTA. Governor Rendell did it in 2005. It's time for Governor Shapiro to do the same. Thank you, Council, for your support of this legislation.
Good morning. Thank you, Council President, for the opportunity to speak today, and thank you, Council members Gilmore Richardson and Thomas for co-sponsoring the resolution. My name is Monica Robinson, and I'm the Director of Community Engagement at the Philadelphia Council AFL-CIO. We are a federation of over 100 local unions representing over 150,000 working people in the public sector, private industry, and building and construction trades. We fight for social and economic justice for all working people to ensure they have a voice in politics, on the job, and in their communities. I'm here today speaking in support of the resolution for National Apprenticeship Week on its 10th anniversary. Registered apprenticeships are good for employers and good for working people. Employers get a highly skilled workforce, and working people get paid for their work experience, and it is a pathway to a family-sustaining union job. The average starting salary after completing a registered apprenticeship program is $80,000. And 94% of apprentices stay on the job after completing their apprenticeship. Apprenticeship programs exist in many industries, including healthcare, construction, manufacturing, and hospitality, to name a few. In the labor movement, we know registered apprenticeships are valuable, a pathway to union jobs, and they change lives. You will soon hear from 4 apprentices, 3 in the building and construction trades, Mackenzie from IBEW Local 98, Jakai from the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades DC 21, Kate from Sheet Metal Workers Local 19, and 1 apprentice from Urban Technology Project, Teresa. Those apprentices will share why they pursued registered apprenticeship programs, the benefits they received, and how it has transformed their lives. Please listen to their stories. Thank you.
Good morning, council members. Thank you, Council President Johnson, for the opportunity to speak today. I also want to thank council members Thomas and Gilmore Richardson for their support regarding today's resolution. My name is Mackenzie Long. I am a first-year apprentice at the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, IBEW Local 98, located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I am here today in support of National Apprenticeship Week and the vital role that apprenticeships play in shaping our workforce and communities. Before becoming an apprentice, I was actively searching for a career that would empower me to build a promising future. A friend's father, who has a career in the trades, encouraged me to consider this path. I proudly chose to join IBEW Local 98, an organization that champions excellence and integrity in the electrical industry and building trades in Philadelphia. The skills I acquired through school and hands-on training are treasures that will never fade. With an earn while you learn model, I am gaining invaluable experiences that not only enhance my professional abilities, but also prepares me for real-world challenges. Though I initially aspired to be an engineer and pursued an internship to supplement my training, I now have the incredible opportunity to continue my education through Local 98 in partnership with Rowan University, all while being paid to do it. The beauty of this industry lies in the diverse career pathways available, allowing each individual to forge their own future. Registered apprenticeships create pathways to careers that provide family-sustaining wages, and I am embarking on a journey toward a future that will uplift my family. By recognizing and promoting the importance of apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeships, we can share this empowering message with students, families, and anyone interested throughout our city and beyond. In my search for a fulfilling career, I held on to hope for a path that resonated with my aspirations. Today, I am deeply grateful for the opportunity I have found, which has transformed my life and ignited my passion for this rewarding industry. I am determined to share this message so those that come after me are aware that it even exists, so they too can understand what it means to be part of a group that is dedicated to safety training and a future that reflects the rich tapestry of our society. Thank you once again for hearing my story and for support of apprentices like me during National Apprenticeship Week. Thank you.
We have Jakai Moses, Kate Sullivan, Teresa McLaughlin, Jeremy Bladstein, and may Jacob Time and Benjamin Rooks also make their way to the podium.
Thank you, Council President Johnson and Council members Thomas and Gilmore Richardson for the opportunity to speak. I'm Jakai Moses. I'm a first-year apprentice job finisher at District Council 21, Local 1955. I am a proud graduate of the Finch Trades Institute VIP Pre-Apprenticeship Program. The pre-apprenticeship program helped me get to where I am. It allowed me to experience different types of trade jobs.
Pardon me, excuse the interruption. We need you to speak directly into the mic so that the stenographer can hear you. Thank you.
I didn't notice that I wasn't. The pre-apprenticeship program helped me get to where I am. It allowed me to experience different types of trade jobs and overall exposed me to the building trade as a whole. Prior to the pre-apprenticeship program, I was a high school student still struggling to figure out what I want to do after I graduated. Now as an apprentice, I am able to earn a livable wage. I have a pension, annuity, and health care. Registered pre-apprenticeship programs and apprenticeship programs are important for the youth of Philadelphia. I am thankful for the exposure to both programs. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Sullivan. I'm here speaking on the National Apprentice Week resolution.
Thank you, Council President Johnson, for the opportunity to speak, and thank you, Council members Thomas and Gilmore Richardson, for introducing the resolution. I am an apprentice for the Sheet Metal Workers Local 19, and I am happy to be a part of the apprenticeship program. It has completely changed my life for the better. My father has been a sheet metal worker in Local 19 since before I was born, and he was always telling me about all the great benefits that came along with being a union member. Before the apprenticeship program, I was living in California as a dog walker and a struggling musician with no future lined up for myself. And then one day I decided that I was going to change all of that. And I moved back to Philadelphia to pursue a career as a sheet metal worker and follow in my father's footsteps. I've been in the program for a little over a year now, and I'm learning so much about the industry and the building trades and also gaining great friendships and being a part of an amazing brotherhood and sisterhood has really been such a great experience so far. It really has changed everything in my life. Just having benefits and a future for myself now, I can finally be way more comfortable. Thank you.
I can start. Good day, everyone. Council President Johnson, Councilmember Thomas, and Glenmore Richardson, and members of the council. My name is Teresa McLaughlin. I'm here today representing the School District of Philadelphia Urban Technology Project, UTP, to speak in support of National Apprenticeship Week resolution. I would like to extend a gratitude to Council President Johnson for this opportunity and Councilmember Thomas and Glenmore Richardson for introducing this vital resolution in recognition of National Apprenticeship Week. As someone deeply involved in the apprenticeship program through UTP, I can attest to the significance of the National Apprenticeship Week. This week shines on the spotlight on incredible career pathways that registered apprenticeship offers, particularly in the field of technology and digital literacy. These programs not only provide essential skills, but also significantly contribute to the building workforce ready to meet demands of today's industrials. From my perspective as an apprenticeship, technology, pursuing a registered apprenticeship was a life-changing decision. A native of Philadelphia and a graduate of the School District of Philadelphia, my career options were limited because I did not have an opportunity or a college degree or tech experience. Therefore, the most significant benefits I gained is hands-on experience and industrial certifications that I have closed the gap between access and opportunity. One surprising aspect of my experience is mentor relationships that I have developed and have a lifelong connection. In closing, I would thank you for considering the importance of registration during the National Apprenticeship Week. Together, let's continue to promote pathways to empower individuals to strengthen their workforce. Thank you.
We have Jeremy Blatstein, Jacob Timmy, Benjamin Rooks, and may Logan Karczewski also make their way to the podium.
Good morning. My name is Jeremy Blatstein, and I know I look fly. First, I would like to acknowledge Stonewall Philadelphia, which just celebrated 10 years of sports leagues and activities in Philadelphia. I'm a proud ally of the community and wanted to give proper accolades to some of my good friends in Philadelphia who played a role in making Stonewall successful. But I'm here to talk about everybody's favorite topic, term limits for Philadelphia City Council. Oh, sorry, jumped ahead a few weeks. I'm here to talk in support of Bill number 241075 and SEPTA. I want to thank each and every member for finally riding SEPTA to City Hall this morning. Sorry, jumped ahead a few weeks again. I mean calling on Harrisburg to fund SEPTA and calling on PA Governor Josh Shapiro to flex federal funds to make sure SEPTA is funded and there are no service cuts. Why? What everybody else said before me. I cannot say better. I do want to apologize to each and every one of you if you think my challenge has been rude or out of line. I appreciate the candid conversations that I've had with some of you over the past couple of weeks, and in no way was I questioning your lived experience or saying that you never rode SEPTA. I just know how important SEPTA is to Philadelphia and thought it would send a strong message to residents in Harrisburg to see, or even just know, Councilman Thomas, that our city council was riding SEPTA every Thursday. I recognize that some of you have said, quote, grew up on SEPTA, never had a car until later years, so it is nothing new to me. But respectfully, it wasn't about SEPTA being new to anybody. It is about seeing firsthand the issues SEPTA riders face today. Okay, let's do it. Raise your hand if you rode SEPTA to City Hall this morning. For those at home, there's 0. I rode the Broad Street line today looking fly. So let's ride the ride to City Hall, and thank you very much.
Hello, City Council. My name is Jacob Timmel, and I'm a member of the SEPTA Youth Advisory Council. We are an independent advisory board to SEPTA that advocates for the transit needs of young people across southeastern Pennsylvania. I'll be speaking today to urge you to pass this resolution imploring our governor to flex federal dollars towards SEPTA in order to buy more time before service cuts and fare hikes have to take place. As it stands today, SEPTA's ridership recovery is going better than many had hoped. The authority has reached 70% system-wide ridership recovery, and serious crime is down 34% in the third quarter of 2024. On top of this, SEPTA has one thing that many transit agencies across the country lack at the moment: an exciting and cohesive plan for system-wide improvement. Initiatives like Bustle Revolution, Project Metro, Reimagining Regional Rail, Trolley Modernization are all projects that, if fully funded, would seek to make Philadelphia's transit system the envy of cities across the country. Young people have a gateway through SEPTA, which connects them to a diverse network of education, jobs, and internships. Universities like Swarthmore and Bryn Mawr have recognized transit is a great tool, and they have provided affordable transit access to students through UPass. They've set a strong example, but many of southeastern Pennsylvania's universities still have progress to make. Large institutions like Temple and Drexel are hesitant to adopt UPass as they may not yet see SEPTA as a sufficiently valuable benefit. Despite this, the SEPTA team remains dedicated to improving the system's safety and reliability, recently through more enforcement regarding fare evasion, and to demonstrate worthiness of stronger investment and support. While SEPTA strives to be the go-to transportation choice for young people in Philly, the anticipated service cuts will be detrimental to that mission. Thank you.
Benjamin Rooks, Logan Karszewski, may Peter Firkt and Jarrett Johnson also make their way to the podium.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Rooks, and I am here in support of Bill 241075. I'm a young professional who owns a home in Fishtown, works at Comcast, and spends a significant amount of leisure time in the city center in West Philadelphia. I no longer own a car, and it is entirely due to SEPTA. Public transportation is something that is a net good for a community and is something that is severely underfunded both here and in the United States as a whole. This is a problem due to the negative reinforcement cycle. If public transportation is underfunded, then it can become unreliable, unsanitary, and in the worst cases, unsafe. This, in turn, leads members of the communities who can afford to take other options to do so, all of which is what leads to the current untrue public perception of SEPTA being dirty and unsafe. If SEPTA becomes even more underfunded, then it will simply increase the rate at which this cycle is occurring. That is why I am calling as a citizen and a member of this community to please approve this stopgap measure. Beyond that, I wish to remind everyone here that the inverse of the current cycle is also true. If we put more funding into SEPTA, then we have the opportunity in the long term to both make commuting for work and fun in Philadelphia cheaper and more convenient than anywhere else in the United States. This is an effort that needs to begin from the top down. If this city wants to see pre-COVID or better levels of ridership and activity, then they need to first make it the best option for those who have other choices. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Logan Karszewski. I'm a Pottstown homeowner who works, eats, and shops in Philadelphia.
While I drive on 422 every day, SEPTA is still a vital utility to me. I am an eager follower of the Schuylkill River Passenger Rail Authority and their effort to link my hometown to Philadelphia by train in 2029. I'm an eager follower of SEPTA's bus revolution that redesigns the current bus network to better meet the needs of the city in 2025. I eagerly follow the deployment of 200 new subway cars for the Market-Frankford line planned to be in service by the end of 2031. I'm eagerly following 100 new full-length gates at transit stations along the Market-Frankford line being installed in 2025 that will combat fare evasion and help keep our subway safer. These programs I've listed, as well as general service cuts, are at risk if SEPTA is not adequately funded. New train cars and infrastructure mean nothing if SEPTA remains underfunded. Today, I'm asking for your team to flex federal infrastructure funds from the state highway projects to local transportation authorities. This is an investment in Philadelphia. The funding we allocate now will allow SEPTA to grow just as its revenue has every year since COVID. Allowing these funds will help rebuild our trust in public transportation and show that we are serious about SEPTA's future. Thank you.
Peter Firkt, Jarrett Johnson, and may Carrie Rogers and Charles Randolph also make their way to the podium.
My name is Peter Furch, resident of District 1, SEPTA rider with a senior fare card. Peter Furch. A fare increase. I have a senior fare card. Riding SEPTA is free to me. I'm not sure why I, as a person of other means, deserve this privilege, but I assume somebody wanted seniors' votes. A reduction in schedule. Again, I have privileges. I have 2 strong legs and a good pair of shoes, a bicycle, even a car. I have alternatives. Would I like to have another lane on I-95 built sooner rather than later? Sure, that would be a benefit to me. But sorry, legislators, and I hope you're listening, Governor Shapiro and DVRPC, building more highways is not going to get my vote. Flexing federal funding over to public transit will. This funding issue is not about further privileging me and retaining highway funding to build more highways for my convenience. This funding is about supporting our fellow citizens' livelihoods, our fellow citizens' ability to get to work, to the doctor, to the grocery store, the pharmacy, the hospital, to school, to jury duty, to court, to the bank, to the rec center, to church, a mosque, or temple, to visit family members. This is about funding a required service, a civil rights service for the many people here in Philadelphia and throughout Pennsylvania who first and foremost depend upon public transit, be they too young to drive, economically disadvantaged, in any way handicapped, or for whatever other reason are simply unable to transport themselves via other means. Funding transport for these people is not an option, it is our obligation. A secondary but nevertheless high importance, this funding is necessary for those who choose public transit because they are environmentally motivated, because they are motivated to reduce congestion, or otherwise motivated to use public transit. Please support Resolution 24-107 or 1075. Thank you.
Good morning, City Council members. My name is Jared Johnson. I am a transit advocate for Fifth Square and a part of DVRPC's Public Participation Task Force. I am a resident of West Philly, and I am here in strong support of Bill number 241075, introduced by Council President Johnson's resolution to call on Governor Shapiro to stave off fare hikes and service cuts by SEPTA to flex federal funding infrastructure from state highway projects to stop SEPTA's death spiral. Since the pandemic, service and ridership has slowly recovered, but drivers and conductors remain understaffed, as well as safety being a huge concern. For over a year, me and other transit advocates from Fifth Square and Transit Forward Philly, some of them are here today, and you'll hear testimonies from some of them, I'm guarantee you that, went to Harrisburg several times to meet with state lawmakers to get the funds needed for SEPTA. Although the State House passed the bill in July, but unfortunately the State Senate, which is full of Republicans, failed to pass the necessary transit funding needed. All of this is under the watch of Governor Shapiro. And last month, the PA legislature wrapped up their session with no solution because Republicans in the state Senate wanted to play games with us, the commuters of this great big city, to disrupt the lives of the commuters. Without funding from the state, SEPTA would be the first to fall with these service cuts and fare increases out of all the public transit agencies in the Commonwealth and will set the city back for years. I currently own a vehicle, but I have not forgotten about my roots of using public transportation before I own a car, and I still use public transportation, and I advocate for public transit and connect with people who do not own a vehicle and have continued to use public transit in areas such as Center City, sporting events, and malls. So I am playing my part in relieving traffic congestion and reduce pollution. Without funding, this will affect me greatly because I would have fewer options to travel around the region and would limit the time I have to spend to attend sporting events. This would cause me to either drive or pay high prices for parking, such as Uber and Lyft, which I do not want to do. I am asking the City Council to call on the governor to take immediate action. He has the tools to act on flexing federal dollars. Time is running out, and we need the governor to use these actions now to keep transit functioning in Philadelphia immediately. And I urge you, I urge you, City Council, to pass this bill. Thank you for your support of this legislation.
Thank you.
We have Carrie Rogers, Charles Randolph, and may George Sorial, Victoria Semino, and Catherine Brooks also make their way to the podium.
Distinguished members of City Council, esteemed colleagues, and fellow citizens, my name is Jennifer Griffin, and I'm the Chief of Police and Vice President for Public Safety at Temple University. I want to express my sincere gratitude to everyone involved in the successful installation of Zero Eyes. Zero Eyes is a gun detection platform that uses artificial intelligence and humans to quickly detect brandished weapons. The new Zero Eyes system works to combat guns and gun violence by identifying a firearm on designated cameras, which is validated by an analyst in an operations center who immediately notifies Temple's Communications Center and Temple Department of Public Safety leadership. Once notified, our Communications Center immediately deploys police officers from Temple and Philadelphia Police Department to the location of a brandished firearm. Temple's implementation of Zero Eyes marks the first time that it is utilized by a university in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. It is our belief that this new cutting-edge layer of safety will enhance safety for Temple and North Philadelphia. We all want safer communities, and the goal to reduce gun violence is with all of us. We want to thank Philadelphia City Councilman Jeffrey Young Jr., who represents the city's 5th District, which encompasses many North Philadelphia communities, including Temple. He has always been supportive of the university's efforts. We also thank Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis, Chairman of the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency, which provided a generous grant to Temple to reduce gun violence. State Senator Sharif Street and Temple alum, State Representative Malcolm Kenyatta, who are all big supporters of Temple. Their support is immensely appreciated and equally pivotal in helping Temple achieve its mission to continue the important work we do to maintain safety for over 40,000 students, faculty, staff, and community members. There is no doubt about it, Temple is committed to improving safety both on and around campus. This is especially important to the exceptional women and men of the Temple Police Department. In fact, just short of half of all of our calls for service that our police respond to are off campus and do not involve students or faculty. We are serving the North Philadelphia community. As the mayor has said, we are one Philadelphia united, and that includes both Temple Police and the university as a whole. Fortunately, the university has seen marked decreases this year in violent crimes within our patrol zone, but we all know that perception is reality. The reality is Temple University is a world-class university that serves the community, the state, the region, and the world. And we are committed to a safer place for everyone to live, work, learn, and play. While there are a great amount of work still to be done, we are confident that this new technology will enhance our operations and continue to improve safety moving forward. We truly appreciate the dedication and support of everyone throughout this process. Thank you.
Carrie Rogers, Charles Randolph, George Sorial, Victoria Semino, and Catherine Rooks.
Can I speak now? Hi, I am Callie Rogers from West Philadelphia, and I am here speaking in favor of Bill number 241075. I have lived in the city for 5 years, and I have owned a car for none of that time. Not owning a car in North America is difficult, but it is possible in Philadelphia thanks to the SEPTA system. I'm a line cook, so I don't make a lot of money, but I've been able to set aside money every month from all the money I'm not spending on car expenses. This makes home ownership a realistic goal for my future. I would like to purchase a home in Philadelphia. I've lived in a few cities, and Philadelphia is the only one where I feel like I could set down roots. There are not parking spots for employees where I work. In dense metropolitan areas, such a thing is simply not possible. All of my coworkers arrive through a combination of walking, biking, but most importantly, public transportation. I love this city, and I have a hard time imagining it without a reliable network of bus, trains, and trolleys taking people like me where they need to go. I'm proud to be part of Philadelphia's vibrant food scene, and I know that it is contingent on thousands of workers like me moving through SEPTA every single day. I understand that with COVID and with the following economic crash, ridership has reduced, but this trend is expected to reverse in the coming years as more young people move to the city. I just hope that the City Council and Josh Shapiro take the necessary measures to make sure that SEPTA is adequately funded in the meantime. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Charles Randolph. I live in North Philadelphia, and I work at Michelle's Bakery, now owned by Crown, on Rising Sun. Without SEPTA, I would not be able to work there, nor would I be able to work at my second job, which also directly benefits businesses in this Commonwealth. If about 60 to 50% of the workers on the line take SEPTA, if Bill 240175 is not passed and federal funding is not flexed, these workers will not be able to come to work. If these workers are not able to come to work, not only are they not able to pay taxes back and potentially go on unemployment, but the facility has to cut production by up to 50% or even 66%. If this food is not produced, it either has to be trucked in from somewhere else at a price increase of around 40 to 30%, or it is simply not made at all. If this food is not made at all, we'll start to see shortages in about 4 days from when we lose the workforce, running up to, say, 5 weeks. Suburbs will probably start to see the worst of it the fastest. If this food is not made, people either go to New Jersey or they simply do not eat. This is not really an option. If we cannot work and make your food, it's not going to be there. I also work with a second job, Oasis X. We make control software for the surrounding biotechs in the state. If SEPTA is done, we are done. Thank you very much, and I urge you to pass 240175 and flex funding.
We have George Sorial, Victoria Semino, Catherine Rooks, Jeff Jones, and Elizabeth Black.
Good morning. My name is George Sorial. I'm one of the 700,000 people that use SEPTA every day. I attended school in West Philly, and SEPTA really protected me from the burden of owning a car as a student. And I ended up moving to the Midwest for a few years, and sometimes you don't realize how wonderful something is until you lose it. So that was a realization I had regarding SEPTA. The fact of the matter is there's data that shows for every dollar you spend on public transit, you receive $5 back in economic activity. It feels like a no-brainer. If even a fraction of the 700,000 people that use SEPTA end up needing to resort to getting a vehicle, it's going to impact drivers and transit users alike. Thank you for considering passing Resolution 241075.
Good morning. My name is Liza Black, and I have been a resident of Delaware County since 2017. I'm here in support of Councilmember Johnson's Resolution 241075, calling on flexible funding to stop SEPTA's death spiral. Today I'm talking about me, but I know that many others in this beautiful city share my story. I'm a professional seamstress, and this year I had the life-changing opportunity to open my own business. I have a shop just 1 block away from here. This central location is crucial to me and my client base. I opened with the intention that this will be my career until my hands give out. The SEPTA death spiral would be a death spiral for my business as well. Like thousands of others, I rely on regular trains, specifically the Media Wawa line, to and from the suburbs to get to work. Removing those trains and therefore adding all of those cars to city traffic would make it impossible for me and my clients to get here. Without reliable access to the city, I'd be forced to move my business. This would be a large and permanent financial hit, and I would be likely be unable to continue my work. Hearing about potential cuts to public transit has me facing an imminent end to this thing that I've spent so long working towards, and frankly, it breaks my heart. I'm hopeful that SEPTA will get the funding it needs so that I and the rest of this vibrant community can continue to make Philadelphia the great city it is. Thank you.
We have Ciaria Gabachnia, Michael McGettigan, Sue Mangold, and Phil Lockett also make their way to the podium.
Good morning, City Council. My name is Jeff Jones, and I want to speak on behalf of 241075. We know that there's an expression that says, you can't get there from here. There will be over 800,000 residents who use public transportation who that statement will become a real reality. They will no longer be able to get there. And that there is places of employment. That there is school. That there is visiting loved ones. That there is taking in the beauties of this great city of Philadelphia and throughout the whole Commonwealth. We need to make sure that as a whole, as City Council, you continually support the resolution that was put forth by Council President Johnson and Councilmember O'Rourke to allow for Governor Shapiro to know that he has to flex funding for the transportation needs in the city of Philadelphia. And we know and understand that upcoming is 2026, a grand event and a grand time in the city, and also the great conversation going on about the 76th Place Arena. But it would be disingenuous to have such type of celebrations and events go on with a decrepit transportation system that really doesn't lend itself towards supporting economically the livelihood of those in Philadelphia, and also environmentally the safety concerns which was previously mentioned, and ethically, which is just the right thing to do. So I'm asking for City Council again as a whole to show a flex of your power and tell Governor Shapiro to flex the funding. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sue Mangold. I'm the CEO at Juvenile Law Center, and I want to thank Councilwoman Landau and Council President Johnson and all of City Council for the resolution honoring the life and legacy of Bob Schwartz. Bob was a pioneer in the field of children's rights. When he graduated from Temple Law School in 1975, he and our chief legal officer, Marcia Levick, and 2 other classmates started the nation's first public interest law center for children here in Philadelphia. It grew from being a Philadelphia-focused law firm to one that always was based and focused in Philadelphia, but encompassed work in the Commonwealth, across the country, and now is internationally recognized as a leading children's rights organization. It's always been here, and its heart has always been in Philadelphia. Bob was a real citizen of the city. He had season tickets to the symphony and followed them all over Europe. He had season tickets to the Phillies and talked to those of us from Boston and other places about how great they were. We all miss him. We all carry on his legacy, and we're very grateful for this resolution in his honor. Thank you, Councilwoman.
May we have Phil Lockett, Jenny Zhang, Patrick Larod, and Callie Rogers also make their way to the podium?
Yeah, it's Obona. I'm substituting for Phil. I changed my. Yeah, it's on his list. Good morning, everyone.
Phil Lockett.
Pardon me.
My name is Obona Higgins, 4th generation chattel slavery survivor. Just by a show of hands, how many people in the chamber are descendants of slavery? Just by a show of hands. Can you just proudly raise your hand if you're a descendant of slavery? Cool. So I stand in agreement with the bill authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of properties as outlined. The issue of land and its proper allocation is critical, and I support this initiative. However, I want to remind this chamber that while this bill addresses specific properties, it is part of a much larger issue, the inheritance of American freedmen. Land, assets, and properties across this city belong to us, the descendants of slavery. Yep, they actually belong to us. The descendants of the emancipated. For too long, our inheritance has been hijacked, misappropriated, and diverted to others. This has got to end. The Office of Freedmen Affairs is not a favor, it is a birthright. The Freedmen's Bureau Act of 1866 was never repealed by Congress, nor deemed unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. It is still law, and yet it continues to be ignored. It's time for this chamber to act in accordance with the 13th Amendment and stop denying us our inheritance. The Philadelphia Reparations Coalition for American Freedmen has the answers to the test. Come on, get the answers, y'all. Y'all routinely fail the test. Go to www.freedmencoalition.org for more information. Get the answers to the test so the American freedmen can finally live the promise of the 13th Amendment.
Jenny Zhang, Patrick Larod, Callie Rogers, and may Amber Wilkie and Lynn Landis also make their way to the podium.
Good morning. My name is Jenny Zhang. I live and attend church in Chinatown, and I'm speaking in support of Resolution 241075. Like hundreds of thousands of Philadelphians, I rely on SEPTA for my transportation in the city. This resolution proves that council knows SEPTA is already on the verge of bankruptcy. How can council vote for this resolution and at the same time fast track an arena project SEPTA declared was financially unfeasible and would cost them an additional $600 million over the next 30 years? So basically you are going to rubber stamp a project that ensures SEPTA's bankruptcy while begging the state to pull you out of a hole you are digging right now. Many people testified this week about an absolute insult the community benefits agreement has been, and this week's testimony proves it. It pretty much sounded that they get all the benefits, and Philadelphians like me watch Philly schools close down, SEPTA fares go up, with more minimum wage part-time jobs as a consolation prize. You are sacrificing this city for a project that has given you zero answers to basic questions serious people ought to know before voting. Questions like, is this project ready for passage when the Sixers claim 40% of their riders will come by public transit, but SEPTA says it will cost you $600 million you don't have, and the project doesn't work for Jefferson Station? Is this project worthy of your vote when Chinatown businesses have seen their property taxes nearly double, and now we're told 50% will suffer losses as a result of the arena, but the CBA allots barely $1.6 million over 30 years? Is this project ready when you have so many promises and absolutely no clawback or consequences put in place if and when the Sixers break their part of the bargain? According to one researcher, the Sixers practice facility promised Camden jobs, but as of 2024, less than 5% of those 275 jobs, only 9 jobs in fact, went to Camden residents. But I have a bigger dream for Philadelphia, one where people quit forcing us to pursue grandiose and failed ideas from 30 years ago. Instead, where has the imagination been for Market East that builds off the cultural vitality of this city, for small business incubators, or biotech and emerging industries, and cultural and art spaces for creative projects to come alive? Market East isn't a failure, it's a place that has been failed by City Hall for far too long. Dreaming big for Philly isn't about catering our playgrounds for billionaires. It's about investing in real planning vision for the city and its people. I ask all members of City Council to slow down this process, and if you cannot, to vote no on this arena. Thank you.
Thank you. You have 2 minutes, state your name for the record, okay? Come on up. Just the mic to where you want.
Hello, my name is Patrick Arrow. My name is Patrick Arrow. I'm with the SEPTA Citizen Advisory Council and the Philadelphia Transit Riders Union. I'm here to testify in support of Council Resolution 241075 that would call Governor Josh Shapiro and DVRPC to flex highway funds into the SEPTA budget. SEPTA is facing a historical and unprecedented extreme budget crisis at the same time Philadelphians are facing an extreme and unprecedented affordability crisis. This city, we can't afford fare increases, we can't afford Uber rides every day to get to work, we can't afford high gas prices, and we can't afford paying for rides to get our kids to school that would come if service in SEPTA was eliminated. At the time we need to be growing service, draconian service cuts will make SEPTA more crowded, more difficult to use, and less safe. Many of the fixed rail infrastructure cuts that are being looked at, such as eliminating service on the Kinwood line and the Chestnut Hill West line, will be almost impossible to reverse and will be permanent for generations to come. Flexing funds is a necessary stopgap measure to keep SEPTA operational until the Pennsylvania legislative session resumes next year and we can find a permanent solution to this budget crisis. If we're not able to pull this off right now, the cost of rebuilding SEPTA will just balloon further and further out of control. And now is the time to act. Thank you for proposing this bill. It shows that your commitment to how important SEPTA is to the city, how important its riders are to the city, and how important keeping the city affordable for working class Philadelphians is. Thank you.
Good morning, beautiful people. My name is Wanda Walker, and as always, I will be speaking about generational wealth and how it's being stolen in Philadelphia. I need our representatives to do everything possible to make sure people do not lose their homes. Philadelphia is a beautiful place. It's diverse. It's more than enough to go around for everybody. No one should have to take a loss for someone to get a gain or to make it. So the most important thing to any family, black, white, or other, is generational wealth, and that usually starts with the ownership of a home. Too many people are losing their homes. Tomorrow we have a case, November the 22nd, 9 a.m., room 432, I think, I'm not sure of the room, where Mr. Johnson will be fighting Act 135, which is one of the ways that property is being lost in Philadelphia. I urge people to come and be a part of the audience, I guess, or the courtroom. I'm also here to talk about a lady named Miss Shiny, who has a problem in West Philly and needs her home built. Another lady, Miss Angie Stedman. All these people are seniors. There's another 2 ladies that are fighting Act 135 for another building. Please pay attention to all the different ways people are losing properties and all the different things that we're having to deal with. Last week I mentioned that, are you all aware that insurance prices for homes have gone up over 300% on top of taxes going up? The average tax increase, I believe, is 19%, but I have heard as high as 48%. Not quite sure of that, but that's not a good thing. The other thing I want to bring some attention to is that the fact that we have so many projects in Philadelphia going up, building so-called affordable housing, and every time you walk by one of those projects, you don't see a community person working on those projects or a black man. That's a problem because this city is very diverse, so why isn't it that our job projects don't look or mirror what our city is and encompasses? Jobs are very important, and it's a problem when in your community they're claiming to build something for you, but you're not benefiting from it from the front end.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you and have a good day. I'll see you next week.
Callie Rogers, Amber Wilkie, Lynn Landis, and May Daniel Lachter and Connor Deschmacher also make their way to the podium.
I'm General Muti Adjumo Sabaru. General is my title, and Muti Adjumo Sabaru is my name.
Pardon me, sir. May you repeat your name for the record?
General Muti Adjumo Sabaru. General is my title. Muti Adjumo Osabaru is my name. I'm from the great state of North Philadelphia, city of Richard Allen. First things first. First, I motion the chair to extend to me 3 additional minutes because last week I was denied the 3 minutes. The Sergeant of Arms can bear witness that I was slated to speak and I was denied, so I motion the chair to grant me 3 additional minutes.
Thank you very much for the request. You were called last week. Due to the time limitations and the number of speakers that we do have today, your request is not granted. Please proceed.
Oh, that's ugly. Wow. I should have just went crazy like everybody else. I tried to be respectful. So okay, we can turn up. I want to read real briefly in regards to 240621. And it's kind of lengthy, so I'm going to just extract from it the part that I highlighted. I wanted to deal with this last week, but I was robbed of the 3 minutes. It says, quote, authorizing the Director of Commerce on behalf of the city to execute the agreement with the Fishtown Kensington Area Business Improvement District Incorporated related to the district and reauthorizing the Fishtown Kensington Area Business Improvement District Incorporated to, and this is very important, to assess property owners within the district a special property assessment fee to be used in accordance with the approved plan. Now, I'm not the sharpest tool in the toolbox, but that appears to be saying that a corporation, a non-breathing entity, you're going to enforce or authorize them to tax a flesh and blood. The term y'all use is fee. That was real quick. But we're going to be back next week, and we're going to do it till it get done.
Callie Rogers, Amber Wilkie, Lynn Landis, Daniel Lachter, and Connor Deschmacher.
Hello, I'm Amber Wilkie, and I live in Kensington along the 57 bus route. I rode the L here today. I'm here to speak in support of Councilmember Johnson's resolution 241075. My fellow citizens have had lots of good points. I don't need to reiterate them, but the unique perspective I do want to add is that I had the opportunity to live in Sweden for several years. I did not have a car when I lived there. I didn't need or miss one. I observed how much of Europe has prioritized public transit over car infrastructure and how clean, efficient, dense, and frankly prosperous their cities are. If we prioritized people over cars, we could have that too. We can have nice things. Philly needs SEPTA. Thank you for your support of this legislation.
Good morning, I'm Lynn Landis of SafeStreetsPhilly.org. I support Resolution 240724, which asks for state enforcement of laws against the sale of liquor at corner store establishments pretending to be restaurants. That said, City Council and the City Administration are themselves not enforcing certain local, state, and federal laws. They have instead followed many Democratic-run cities and states and publicly refused to enforce laws with which they don't agree. This has made their cities and states sanctuaries for criminals. Worst of all, they have violated their own oath of office to uphold our nation's laws and instead illegally invited people from all over the world into our country, which is a felony under federal law, Title VIII. As a result of sanctuary cities and states, a reported 20 million people have illegally crossed our border in the last several years, as American workers have lost their jobs to illegal aliens, while hundreds of thousands of children and adults have been victims of sex and human trafficking and forced to work for slave wages. It is a painful irony that through these lawless and inhumane policies, the Democratic Party has literally encouraged modern-day slavery under the banner of progressive politics and compassionate concerns. Sanctuary cities and states are the ultimate threat to democracy, for you can't have a country if your country has no effective borders. This last election was a referendum on securing our borders. Listen to the people. It is time for Philadelphia City Council and the mayor to protect our citizens, enforce our laws, and rescind Philadelphia's seriously misguided and patently illegal sanctuary city policy. Thank you.
Daniel Lacker, Connor Deschmacher, Andrew Long, and Guy Anthony Brooks, please make your way to the podium in that order.
The chair now recognizes Councilmember Phillips.
Thank you, Chair, Majority Leader, Gilmore Richardson. I just want to request a lead to attend district business. I request to have an eye on all bills and resolutions for the day.
Thank you, Councilmember Phillips. Leave is granted.
Thank you.
Please proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, City Council. My name is Daniel Leichter. I'm a resident of the Whitman neighborhood in South Philly. I'm speaking in support of Resolution 241075. I do not own a car, but if you do not tell Governor Josh Shapiro to fund SEPTA using Flex Highway funds, I will have no choice but to drive everywhere. And this puts all residents of Philadelphia at risk, as I'm a really bad driver. I don't use my turn signal, I cut people off, and I get distracted easily. Please do what is right and keep me off the road. Keep Philadelphians safe. Thank you.
All right. Gosh, I can't be quite as entertaining. I apologize, everybody. But my name is Connor Dashmaker. I'm here in support of Resolution 241075, calling on Governor Shapiro to flex federal highway funds to stave off catastrophic service cuts and fare increases for SEPTA. I am the Coalition Manager of Transit Forward Philadelphia and co-convener of the statewide Transit for All PA campaign. We're a coalition of environmental orgs, CDCs and neighborhood associations, immigrant and refugee support groups, interfaith groups, political advocacy groups, and elder and disability advocates. Proud to stand alongside so many transit riders today who depend on SEPTA daily for access to employment, commerce, culture, health, and community. As we've been hearing for well over a year, SEPTA is in crisis due to an expiration of federal pandemic aid, rising costs, and permanently changed travel patterns. Beginning in January of this coming year, there are projected for cascading cuts to service 20% and fare increases of 29%, leading to a death spiral of ridership affecting so many factors that make this city great. Despite this well-known crisis, the Pennsylvania legislature failed to pass essential funding in its recent budget. Now our only option is executive action from Governor Shapiro to temporarily flex federal highway dollars to stave off collapse, give time to pass a new reliable funding plan by the next legislative session. This is aligned with Governor Rendell's actions in 2005 and his threat in 2010, the latter of which led to the passage of Act 89, our last real transportation legislation. When I-95 collapsed, we rightly treated it as a crisis. And SEPTA serves over 4 times as many people every single day as I-95. I want to thank so much Councilmember Johnson and Councilmember O'Rourke and the members of council who have co-sponsored this legislation. And we look forward to working together once we get this emergency funding to pass permanent and sustainable funding for public transportation. Thank you so much for your time.
Andrew Long, Guy Anthony Brooks, may Kate Perez, Naima Sanchez, and Henry Cias also make their way to the podium in that order, please.
My name is Andrew Long, and I'm here in support of Resolution 241075. Thank you to the City Council for bringing attention to this issue, and I'm urging Governor Shapiro to use flex funding as a last resort to keep SEPTA afloat. I moved to Philly 5 years ago to attend Temple University. I graduated in 2023, and part of the reason that I chose this city was because of SEPTA. I wanted to live in a city where it was possible to live without a car, and I take SEPTA every day to all of my appointments, to work, to visit friends, and to get home safe after a night out. If we refuse to invest in transportation and to invest in infrastructure, our city will be on the brink of collapse. It's important to all of our residents and all of my friends and family and co-workers who have joined me today in support of this resolution. Please join me in support of Resolution 241075 and urge Governor Shapiro to use flex funding to keep SEPTA afloat and invest in our future. Thank you.
I'm Kate Perez, and this is Yazan Kafarna, who was starved to death on March 4th. And since then, Israel's illegal blockade of all humanitarian aid has only worsened despite Biden's fake 30-day warning, and businesses in Philadelphia help to supply the weapons that make this possible. On Monday, more than 20 White House staffers accused the Biden administration of violating the conventional arms transfer policy, the Foreign Assistance Act, and Leahy laws by sending military weapons to the apartheid state of Israel. Ghost Robotics, Leonardo, and Dan Zimmerman sell munitions directly to the illegal occupation, making them non-conforming businesses in our city that our council has the power and duty to shut down. When more than 60% of Americans want a ceasefire, but only 18 senators vote yes on an arms embargo, we can't pretend to live in a democracy. Those who voted against the arms embargo are trying to claim that an occupying apartheid state has the right to self-defense, as if bombing every hospital and kindergarten could be called self-defense against a country that has no air force, no military, no navy. The fourth richest army is controlling the borders, banning morphine and chlorine, and is the only state in the world putting thousands of minors through military courts, holding them indefinitely without charge. The entire UN Security Council calls for a binding ceasefire, and the US blocked it. The ICJ finds Israel's crimes consistent with genocide, but Casey and Fetterman vote against blocking weapons. Shame. You love bringing religion into this room, and even your Pope is calling for an investigation against Israel's genocide. This morning, the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for war criminals Netanyahu and Gallant for the war crime of starvation as a method of warfare, and the crimes against humanity of murder, persecution, and the war crime of intentionally directing an attack against the civilian population. These are the leaders of our sister city. Philadelphia watches apartheid and decides to exchange politicians and train our PPD with them. To be clear, Israel is turning Gaza into a series of smaller and smaller concentration camps. 2 million people in a humanitarian zone blocked off from food and water and medicine as Israel drops American bombs on refugee camps and systematically targets medical personnel. The world should never become accustomed to human suffering. Shut down Ghost Robotics, Leonardo, and Dan Zimmerman. End the arms sales. Free Palestine.
Good morning, council members and neighbors. My name is Naima Sanchez, she, her pronouns, and I'm honored to speak before you today, supporting the proclamation resolution recognizing Trans Day of Remembrance, otherwise known as TDOR, in the city of Philadelphia. I want to express my deepest gratitude to city council members for acknowledging the significance of TDOR and the importance it has within Trans Week of Awareness for community here in Philadelphia and beyond. Trans Day of Remembrance, observed annually since 1999 on November 20th, is an occasion where we pause to honor and remember the transgender, non-binary, and gender-diverse individuals who have lost their lives. And while we have this day of remembrance, we must continue to demand protections from violence and harmful systems that disproportionately affect transgender people, especially trans folks of color. The day serves not just as a memorial, but also as a call to action. It is a reminder of the work that still lies ahead to protect the lives and dignity of our communities. As a proud transgender Philadelphian, I'm here today not only to represent the lives lost, but also to recognize the strength, resilience, and the love that defines the transgender community that exists in this city today. In the face of persistent discrimination, violence, and social stigma, we continue to fight for our basic rights, the rights to exist, to be treated with respect, dignity, and with the freedom to live from discrimination and fear of violence. In Philadelphia, we have witnessed firsthand how violence against transgender individuals affect not only that person, but also their family, friends, and our broader community. We must remain vigilant, and because when one of us is harmed, we are all harmed. Philadelphia is a home to a vibrant transgender community, and while we still face significant challenges, we have made great strides. This city has long been a beacon of hope for those in need of support, belonging, and affirmation, and I'm grateful for the efforts, that have championed through this city. I just want to say this and then. I pray that this proclamation is a commitment from this body of great people to combating transphobia, violence, and injustice wherever it may occur. Let us not only mark TDOR throughout this proclamation, but continue to make concrete action to support and uplift the transgender community in Philadelphia, pour into our transgender community and trans-centered organizations and grassroots groups in Philadelphia, and continue to love up on trans Philadelphians as we prepare for the what-ifs for the years beyond. Thank you for your leadership, your unwavering commitment, and I yield back with love. Thank you.
Good morning. My name's Henry Sias. I'm here in support of the resolution addressing Transgender Day of Remembrance when we honor those we've lost to violence and bigotry. It's always a somber occasion, but this year people were especially panicked and some despairing. The recent election exposed shameless bigotry against our community. For instance, advertisements run by a federal candidate statewide, sneering at people who use they, them pronouns. But some of the most pernicious attacks have taken place at the school board level due to targeted campaigns on behalf of groups like Moms for Liberty to infiltrate school boards and to put children like us on the front lines. That is completely unacceptable. Now is the time to redouble our efforts to support and defend our community and so many other communities like immigrants, et cetera, we all know. The lives of many people are in the balance, and too many of those people are children. Even before we became a political football, little boys like me had an attempted suicide rate of 51% during their childhood. Things are undoubtedly worse now. So we must redouble our efforts because their future, their hope, and sometimes their lives are in the balance. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Good day, all. My name is Guy Anthony Brooks. It's spelled G-U-Y-A-N-T-H-O-N-Y-B-R-O-O-K-S. Good day, Councilmember O'Rourke and council members. Thank you for letting me speak today. I serve as the chair of the Liberty Resources Board, and I am a member of the Transportation Committee at Liberty Resources, Inc., LRI. I live in West Philadelphia and frequently rely on SEPTA system to travel to my various destinations. For the disabled community in the Philadelphia area, a key element of true community integration is the availability of safe, accessible, and integrated public transportation, including SEPTA's bus system. However, the up-and-coming fare increase and the service cuts present a significant threat to our community's mobility. The proposed route cuts and fare increases will disproportionately harm individuals with disabilities. During peak hours, overcrowding could double, making it increasingly difficult for wheelchair users like myself and others in the disability community to board or exit the bus at designated stops. We are already facing challenges with operators who sometimes refuse to pick us up. With increased overcrowding, these issues would only worsen. For those of us who rely on SEPTA Access, formerly SEPTA CCT, and the Share Ride paratransit programs, the base fare will increase to $5.75, an alarming $1.50 increase from the current fare of $4.25. While this may seem like a small amount to some, for us, low and very low income individuals with disabilities, the increase will have a serious impact. Many of us will struggle to afford these rising costs while maintaining our independence and participating in the community. The financial burden of an already flawed transportation system, one that is asking us to pay more to compensate for its budget's shortfalls, is unsustainable for the most vulnerable members of our society. Additionally, when factorizing in zone fares, a person with a disability who is fully reliant on paratransit could be paying as much as $84 a week. This is a significant financial strain for individuals already struggling to make ends meet. The impact of these proposed changes is not just a matter of inconvenience, it is a matter of basic civil rights. Safe and accessible public transportation is essential for the independence and well-being of people with disabilities. We cannot afford to sacrifice these services, especially when the cost of using them is increasing beyond our means. In conclusion, I urge the City Council to consider the devastating impact that these fare increases and service reductions will have on the disabled community. We need a transportation system that ensures full participation in society for all Philadelphians. Regardless of their abilities or incomes, I ask you to stand with us and advocate for more accessible and affordable public transportation system for everyone. Thank you for your time and consideration. Thank you.
There are no other names for public comment, Council President.
That concludes today's public comment period. We will now consider the bills and resolutions on the second reading and final passage calendars. Will the clerk please read the title of Resolution Number 241066?
A resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of 320 North 41st Street and 323 North Holly Street located in the 3rd Councilmatic District in accordance with the terms of Chapter 16-700 of the Philadelphia Code.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Jamie Gaultier for a resolution.
Thank you, Council President.
For a motion regarding Resolution Number 241066.
Thank you, Council President. I call for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that Resolution Number 241066 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. The resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of Resolution Number 241067?
A resolution also naming the 3900 block of Chestnut Street as Dr. Audrey E. Evans Way to honor the life and memory of Dr. Audrey E. Evans and her invaluable contributions to pediatric oncology and the Ronald McDonald House Charities of the Philadelphia region.
The chair recognizes Councilman Jamie Gaultier for a motion regarding Resolution Number 241067.
Thank you, Council President. I call for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. Resolution Number 241067 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries and the resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of Resolution Number 241068?
A resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of 3924 Cambridge Street, 3909 Pensgrove Street, 1110, 1112, 1113, 1118, and 1128 State Street, 3900, 3902, 3904, 3906, 3911, 3912, 3919, 3921, and 3926 Wyalusing Avenue, located in the 3rd Councilmatic District in accordance with the terms of Chapter 16-700 of the Philadelphia Code.
The chair recognizes Councilman Gaultier for a motion regarding Resolution Number 241068.
Thank you, Council President. I call for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that Resolution Number 241068 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. The resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of Resolution Number 241069?
A resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Land Bank deeds conveying title to various properties located in the 3rd Councilmatic District, including on the following streets: North 35th Street, North 38th Street, Aspen Street, Brown Street, North DeKalb Street, Ogden Street, Sloan Street, and Union Street, pursuant to the requirements of the Commonwealth Land Bank Act.
The chair recognizes Councilman Jamie Gaultier for a motion regarding Resolution Number 241069.
Thank you, Council President. I call for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that Resolution Number 241069 069 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries and the resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of resolution number 241074?
A resolution thanking the Pennsylvania General Assembly for passing Act 103, the Putting the Brakes on Street Racing Bill.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Jeffrey J. Young for a motion regarding resolution number 241074.
Thank you, Mr. President. I call for its adoption.
It has been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 241074 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. The resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of resolution number 241075?
A resolution calling on Governor Josh Shapiro and the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission to stave off fare hikes and service cuts to SEPTA by flexing federal infrastructure funds from state highway projects to local transportation authorities.
The chair recognizes Councilmember O'Rourke for a motion regarding resolution number 241075.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 241075 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries and the resolution is adopted. Good job, Member O'Rourke. Will the clerk please read the title of bill number 240613-A?
An ordinance amending Chapter 12-1100, Miscellaneous Regulations and Penalties, and Chapter 12-2800, Administrative Adjudication of Parking Violations of the Philadelphia Code, making revisions to disability parking space standards and procedures, creating an application process for residential disability parking spaces limited for use by a specific person with disability, creating a new administrative hearing process, and amending applicable penalties.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Squilla for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to offer an amendment to Bill Number 240613A. A copy of the amendment has been circulated to all members of council. I move for the adoption of the amendment.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the amendment to Bill Number 240613-A be adopted. All in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the bill has been amended. This bill will be placed on the final passage calendar for our next session of council. We will now consider privileged resolutions. Will the clerk please read any additional resolutions on today's calendar?
A privileged resolution recognizing November 17th through 23rd as National Apprenticeship Week in the City of Philadelphia, introduced by Councilmember Gilmore Richardson.
The chair recognizes Majority Leader Gilmore Richardson for a motion on the resolution.
Thank you, Council President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the next resolution?
A privileged resolution declaring November 13th through November 19th, 2024 as Transgender Awareness Week and November 20th as Transgender Day of Remembrance in the City of Philadelphia, introduced by Council Member Rue Landau on behalf of Council Member Brooks.
The chair recognizes Councilman Rue Landau on behalf of Council Member Brooks for a motion.
Thank you very much. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of the next resolution?
A privileged resolution authorizing the Committee on Law and Government to hold hearings exploring Philadelphia's readiness and commitment to protecting immigrant, LGBTQ+, and other marginalized communities in advance of the impending Trump administration, introduced by Councilmember Landau.
The chair recognizes Councilman Rue Landau for a motion on the resolution.
Council President, I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of the next resolution?
A privileged resolution honoring the life and legacy of David Ramler, Chair of the Philadelphia Fair Housing Commission, for his tenacious and lifelong commitment to social justice, housing equity, and impact on the lives of Philadelphians, introduced by Councilmember Landau.
The chair recognizes Councilman Rue Landau for a motion on the resolution.
Council President, I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the next title of the next resolution?
A privileged resolution honoring the life and legacy of Robert Schwartz, the co-founder and former executive director of the Juvenile Law Center, and recognizing his lifelong dedication to juvenile justice and youth rights on a national and international level, introduced by Councilmember Landau.
The chair recognizes Councilman Rue Landau for a motion on the resolution.
I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of the next resolution?
A privileged resolution thanking Temple University for becoming the first university in the Philadelphia region to deploy gun detection technology and to boost safety, introduced by Councilmember Young.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Young for a motion on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for its adoption.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of the next resolution?
A privileged resolution recognizing the Philadelphia Black Women's Health Alliance for their 40 years of service to Philadelphia communities, introduced by Councilmember Young.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Young for a motion on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for its adoption.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of the next resolution?
A privileged resolution recognizing ordinary heroes for their work engaging Black and brown youth in the Hunting Park community, introduced by Councilmember Young.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Young for a motion on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for its adoption.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of the next resolution?
A privileged resolution honoring Leslie Richards for her service to the residents of the city of Philadelphia and surrounding area during her tenure as general manager and CEO of the Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority, introduced by Councilmember Driscoll.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Driscoll for a motion on the resolution.
Mr. President, I move for its adoption.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of the next resolution?
A privileged resolution recognizing the critical need for the city of Philadelphia to address vacancies in public safety positions, especially school crossing guards, to protect the well-being of its residents and uphold the city's commitment to community security, introduced by Councilmember Ahmad.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Dr. Nina Ahmad for a motion on the resolution.
I move for the adoption of this resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of the next resolution?
A privileged resolution recognizing the critical importance of vaccinations for children in Philadelphia, introduced by Councilmember Ahmad.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Dr. Nina Ahmad.
I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted.
Council President, there are no further resolutions in my possession.
That completes our calendar for today. Are there any speeches on the part of the minority? The chair recognizes Councilmember Nicholas O'Rourke.
Thank you, Mr. President. There is a word from the minority today, and today that word is value. Before I say that, I just want to thank Leader Catherine Gilmore Richardson for supplying me with some medicine today. I'm not feeling too swell, but she has helped out, reaching into her bag and helping me feel a little bit better. So thank you, Leader Gilmore Richardson. Value, 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 value. So we've heard a lot from public comment today related to the resolution that we just passed calling on flex funding for SEPTA, because SEPTA is the product of generations of investment that we cannot abandon, and I think we have seen today how priceless that is. We got a letter circulated before we even got to public comment from someone who spoke, that I thought the paragraph was pretty catching. It says, on Monday, the City Council held hearings about our readiness for 2026. 2026 presents a cataclysmic opportunity to make or break Philadelphia's image on the world stage. It said Paris invested in its public transit ahead of this year's Olympics. LA is doing the same, getting ready for the 2028 Olympics. Philadelphia will be in the global spotlight in 2026. They asked the question, are we ready? Further, our team actually brought something to our attention that said that right now, Seattle is investing $50 billion into a transit system that'll be half the size of SEPTA, half. If there was no SEPTA and the city of Philadelphia had to build the system that we have today, it would cost somewhere between $150 to $200 billion. Again, emphasizing the point that our transit infrastructure is priceless. Now, grateful to see that the union was able to avert a strike and come to a deal. That's great. So the strike's averted, but the cuts have not yet been averted. So the question is, are we ready? I want to just say again that I appreciate the governor indicating that he would not let SEPTA fail. I think that was a direct quote. And I just want to add one more exclamation point to the chorus that have called on him today to flex that funding before the next budget cycle, as SEPTA has indicated is necessary in order to avoid failure. But also, if I may, Member Driscoll, to make sure that the tenure of Leslie Richards, who from DVRPC to Harrisburg and back to Philly in running SEPTA has a long-term impact, one that is befitting such a dedicated public servant that she is. And so we do commend her today in that effort. But not to belabor that point again, just want to exclamate the point that we need to see that funding flexed. Furthermore, I just want to say that next Tuesday, my office will join forces with the Office of State Representative Rick Krajewski, sharing excess as well as Conqueror CDC to help neighbors celebrate Thanksgiving. We'll be giving out turkeys and offering community members a venue to securely shred any old records or mail. And that again, that is next Tuesday. Make it out to Conqueror CDC at 5220 Whitby Avenue. That's 5220 Whitby Avenue between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. next Tuesday. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Any speeches on behalf of the majority? The chair recognizes Councilmember Dr. Nina Ahmad.
Thank you, Council President. I am deeply concerned about the spread of misinformation surrounding vaccines, especially comments from President-elect Trump's pick for Secretary of Health and Human Services, someone who will be tasked with leading a federal agency serving the health and well-being of millions of Americans. Misinformation surrounding vaccines has contributed to a resurgence of preventable diseases, including measles, which according to the World Health Organization saw a 230% increase in cases worldwide in 2022 compared to the previous decade. Philadelphia itself experienced a significant measles outbreak recently. Science proves that routine childhood vaccinations reduce the spread of disease, strengthen the immunity of our communities, and protects our vulnerable populations. Taking care of the health of our children and each other is one way we can set them up for a successful life and protect our communities. The people of Philadelphia have the right to modern, effective healthcare access and the freedom to lead a healthy, productive life. That is why, as the Public Health Committee Chair, I introduced a resolution today recognizing the critical importance of vaccinations for children in Philadelphia. I will remain steadfast in my support of evidence-based public health solutions like vaccinations. I urge the city, our civic leaders, schools, healthcare providers, and community organizations to keep the mission of protecting and safeguarding our children's health at the forefront of our work. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Majority Whip Isaiah Thomas.
Good afternoon, Council President. I actually will be very brief. I actually want to start by thanking you and the Sergeant of Arms and the tech and the entire team on the Council President's side. We appreciate you pushing us to be more in neighborhoods and in communities and amongst people. And Monday was a great example of that, Council President. We had a hearing at the Visitor Center, and I want to thank them for hosting us around the idea of 2026 and the preparedness and what we have done and what we have seen as it relates to getting ready for 2026, but also what we need to do to make sure that this is the opportunity to put Philadelphia on a global stage. I want to thank Congressman Brendan Boyle for attending the hearing and testifying, as well as State Rep Jared Solomon. It's important that people recognize that not only is this an important year for our city, but we as government see this as a collaborative effort between city, state, and federal to make sure that we put on the best possible display we can in order for people to see the amazing city that Philadelphia is. I want to thank Greg Karen from the Philadelphia Convention and Visitors Bureau, Meg Kane from Philadelphia Soccer 2026, Angela Val, a big thank you to Angela Val for all of the organizing effort, but especially pushing us on this initiative. And of course, I want to thank Mayor Parker, Michael Newmas, Commissioner Bethel, our fire commissioner, the entire administrative team, Mrs. Jones as well too, for participating in the hearing, actively working and coordinating with council and making sure that the people of Philadelphia again know that this is a priority. For those who don't know, in 2026, we're going to see the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. We're going to see 6 World Cup games from FIFA, the 250th birthday of our country, Wawa, Welcome America, in addition to so many other events. 2026 activities are estimated to bring in over 1 million visitors to the city of Philadelphia and over $1 billion, with a B, Council President, dollars in local economic activity. Approximately 30 organizations offered testimony to council that didn't participate in the hearing to provide written statements so that they can too have their voice heard and make sure that we understand that they are a part of the public-private partnership to assure that 2026 is going to be a year that Philadelphia don't forget. Council President, I'm going to close out with this. There was a lot of amazing testimony that really resonated with myself, Councilmember Young, Councilmember Lozada, and Councilmember Landau. But a couple things really stuck out. I want to first really thank Councilmember Lozada, because one of the charges that she had in that hearing was that nobody, not one of those 1 million people who come to the city of Philadelphia to visit our great city should leave with any viral videos or pictures of anything related to some of the issues that we have in Kensington. So one of the things that we asked for in that hearing, and I want to say this on behalf of Councilmember Lozada, is not just a plan for 2026, but a special plan specifically for Kensington, so we can make sure that we're addressing those issues and doing our best and putting us in a position where those constituents feel like they are as important as any other part of this city as we prepare for that. So I want to especially thank Councilmember Lozada for her advocacy, because that was one of the things that really stood out in that hearing. I also want to make sure that everybody knows that this is a year where not only will we be able to celebrate some of our great institutions and visiting centers and things that are in Center City and historical parts of the city, but we want to make sure that neighborhoods feel this. We want to make sure that we're pushing these 1 million plus people who are going to visit our city to South Philadelphia, to West Philadelphia, to the Northwest, to the Northeast, and that let them see how, in North Philadelphia, sorry, Councilmember Young, and let them see how Philadelphia is an amazing city, but a city of neighborhoods that really reflect the melting pot of what we know this great country to be. Last but not least, Council President, as I close out, I think about the words that Angela Val said when we were in the hearing, and she talked about how other cities use opportunities like this to propel them to be in a position where 20, 30, and 40 years later, they're still benefiting from the great work that other cities did when they had the opportunity to have the global stage like the city of Philadelphia will have in 2026. So I know, Council President, with your leadership and with the aggressive nature of our colleagues here on the legislative side, as well as with the appetite and the mayor and the collaborative effort with the city, state, and federal government, that Philadelphia is going to make this country proud in 2026. And we're going to do such great work that people will be talking about it in 2036, 2046, and so many years beyond. So thank you, Council President. I appreciate you, and thank you to all of my colleagues, as well as the administration, because we know we're going to make 2026 an amazing year for our city. Thank you, Council President.
Excellent work, Member Thomas. We want to make sure that billion-dollar economic development flows to Black and brown and women-owned businesses. So great job. Keep up the good work, young man. The chair recognizes Councilman Rue Landau.
Thank you, Council President. Today, I introduced a resolution to remember and celebrate the extraordinary life of David Ramler, a tireless advocate for social justice and housing equity. David's lifelong commitment to making a difference touched countless lives in Philadelphia and beyond, including mine. He was a friend, a mentor, and a close colleague. Dave was a lifelong activist and protester here. In fact, Suzanne told me that one of his first big protests in Philadelphia was right here in this room. We love that. Welcome the protesters. And in 2015, Mayor Nutter appointed him to be the chair of the Philadelphia Fair Housing Commission, where I served as the executive director. In that capacity, he adjudicated thousands of cases of alleged unfair rental practices, worked to protect tenants, hold landlords accountable, and create a city where everyone could feel at home. Over the decades, he worked at the Defender Association, the National Housing Law Project, and represented groups like the NAACP, ACT UP, and what was then the Tenants Action Group, championing justice for underserved communities. His contributions extended nationally. He played a pivotal role in securing the largest federal Fair Housing Act disaster settlement in U.S. history following Hurricane Sandy, and shaped policies for housing equity and disaster recovery at the federal level. His passing on September 1st at age 77 is a profound loss, but his legacy lives on in the fight for fair housing, justice, and equality, and with his wonderful wife, Suzanne, also a former legal services justice champion, and his sons, Alec and Bryce. We also celebrated the incredible life of Bob Schwartz in a resolution, another true champion for juvenile justice and youth rights. As co-founder of the Juvenile Law Center, Bob's visionary leadership transformed the way we protect and empower young people across the nation and around the world. Bob's work led to historic legal victories, including eliminating the juvenile death penalty, exposing the Kids for Cash judicial scandal in northeastern Pennsylvania, and filed class action lawsuits against conditions in institutions and in probation system. He has changed the lives of countless children and families. Bob passed away on October 8th at age 77. His legacy lives on in the children whose lives he transformed and the advocates he inspired. As a former legal services lawyer myself, we have a tight-knit community here in Philadelphia, and these two both cemented lasting legacies, and it's a painful loss to all of us. And finally today, in both of their honors, I introduced a resolution to reaffirm Philadelphia's commitment to protecting the rights and dignity of immigrants, LGBTQ+ individuals, and all marginalized communities in our city. Philadelphia can and should continue to be a safe, welcoming, and affirming city for all, especially as we prepare for the potential challenges ahead in the next presidential administration. Philadelphia thrives because of its diversity and the invaluable contributions of immigrants, LGBTQ+ individuals, and those who have historically faced discrimination. We are built today from the efforts and advocacy of marginalized groups, and we need to protect our neighbors. We must ensure every Philadelphian can live without fear. Every Philadelphian matters here. This resolution is a call to action. Together, we must ensure the City Council remains standing against injustice and safeguarding the fundamental freedoms that make our city strong. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair recognizes the presence and also acknowledges Councilmember Minority Whip Kendra Brooks.
Thank you, Council President. Today is Transgender Day of Remembrance. Councilmember Landau introduced on my behalf a resolution to recognize Transgender Awareness Week and Transgender Day of Remembrance. Trans and gender expansive people are among the dearest loved ones, and over the past few months, they have been the targets of millions of dollars of political spending on hateful campaign ads. As an educator and a mother, I see this behavior for what it is: bullying. It is petty, it is cruel, and it flies in the face of our most cherished American ideal, the freedom to be who you are and live your own life. On Trans Day of Remembrance, we honor the people who lost their lives in pursuit of that freedom. We honor the 36 trans and gender-expansive people who have been killed in the past year, including Pennsylvanian Polly Lycan, who was just 14 years old when she was killed. We recognize that the majority of trans people killed are Black women, and we recognize that Black women are tired of being at the forefront of all of our fights to extend our freedom to more people, tired of being targeted for our willingness to resist bullies and protect the most vulnerable. Over the next 4 years, we will see bullying on a national scale. In fact, next month, our illegitimate Supreme Court will hear a case on gender-affirming care for trans youth. This election showed the length powerful billionaires will go, whether it's trans folks or immigrants or young people protesting in the streets, to try to convince us that some other is the problem, all while they bully their way into more money and more power. Just look at what City Council has prioritized over the last couple of weeks, a billionaire's arena rather than the things that Philadelphians voted for: affordable housing, living wages, and civil rights. And across the country, we will also be seeing Republican-led states continue to target our country's trans population. To our trans community, I'm here to say we will not allow that here in Philadelphia. Sarah McBride, who's the representative-elect for the state of Delaware and the first openly trans person to be elected to the U.S. Congress, said it best: these divisive attacks coming from the right wing are blatant attempts to distract from the fact that they have no real solutions for what Americans are facing. Here in Philadelphia, we will now bow down to bullies. We will stand with our trans neighbors and continue to insist on more freedom, not less. And now is not the time to cower in the face of these attacks, but instead it is the time to recommit to the fight ahead. We can take action now to save lives, and that's what I'll be focused on this week and every week moving forward. Thank you so much, Council President.
Thank you very much. Minority Leader Brooks, would you like to be voted aye on all bills and resolutions?
Yes, Council President.
You're welcome. Duly noted for the record. The chair now recognizes Majority Leader Catherine Gilmore Richardson.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Council President. Again, happy National Apprenticeship Week, Philadelphia. We have held a number of activities and events throughout the city of Philadelphia, introducing the trades and apprenticeship programs to young people across the city of Philadelphia and those wishing to reskill and upskill. So happy National Apprenticeship Week. I rise today just to remind colleagues that we do have a 2 p.m. Committee of the Whole hearing. I respectfully request your attendance at 2 p.m. We have one resolution which I authored, and this will be the second hearing that we hold prior to the city entering into negotiations with the FOP. So we do have a Committee of the Whole hearing at 2 p.m. In addition to our hearing at 6. Thank you very much for your assistance.
Thank you very much, Majority Leader. The chair now recognizes Councilman Jamie Gaultier.
Thank you, Council President. Today, we rename the 3900 block of Chestnut Street Dr. Audrey E. Evans Way to honor the life and memory of Dr. Audrey Evans and her invaluable contributions to pediatric oncology and the Ronald McDonald House Charities of the Philadelphia region. Dr. Audrey Evans co-founded the Ronald McDonald House Charities, which opened the first Ronald McDonald House in the world 50 years ago in West Philadelphia. As a pediatrician, Dr. Evans saw firsthand the immense emotional and financial burden faced by families of children undergoing long-term medical treatment. That is why she dedicated herself to creating a, quote, home away from home for families so that they had a supportive and caring environment. The Ronald McDonald House that Dr. Evans co-founded in West Philadelphia grew to become more than just a place to stay. It became a community of support, understanding, and compassion, and the model for over 385 houses all over the world. Dr. Evans was also a pioneering pediatric oncologist and visionary who profoundly changed the lives of countless families. Her groundbreaking work in the treatment of neuroblastoma significantly improved survival rates and brought hope to many around the world. Dr. Evans's unconventional approach to care, the bird cage on the oncology floor, the hamster up the sleeve of her lab coat, the bunny that helped the child through her fear of the MRI machine, and her willingness to answer heavy questions asked by her young, critically ill patients about death and heaven, redefined what it means to provide compassionate care. I am proud to honor this glass and ceiling shattering doctor, dedicated community leader, and trailblazer who embodied brotherly love and sisterly affection in West Philadelphia and nationwide. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilmember Jeffrey Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, before I go over my comments, I just want to let everyone in the listening public know that on Monday at the Martin Luther King Jr. Recreation Center, my office will be holding a special Thanksgiving dinner for all those who wish to participate. You can call my office to RSVP, or you can search through 5th District Thanksgiving Dinner on Eventbrite to sign up to register. That is from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Martin Luther King Recreation Center at 22nd and Cecil B. Moore, which is accessible by bus routes number 3, 33, and 61.
Member Young, what's your office phone number?
Yes, sir. Office telephone number is 215-686-3442. You can call the office to RSVP for this catered meal that we're going to have. We'll also have live entertainment, a DJ, and we have a magician coming to perform for family members as well. I want to acknowledge a solemn moment that happened in our district a couple days ago. A young man, 28 years old, Mr. Dominique Jones, a cyclist, was killed by a speeding drunk driver at 25th and Diamond. And so, as the chair of the Streets and Services Committee, I just want the public to know that this council is committed to looking into all measures to calm traffic in our city. As you see, the Streets and Services Committee today passed out 11 bills, many of them related to traffic calming measures, and so we will continue to do so here in our city. Just yesterday, a 26-year-old was shot and killed at a pizza shop in North Philadelphia on Ridge Avenue, just a block away from my alma mater, Girard College, and across the street from PHA's headquarters. And so while we were spending hours debating about billionaire pet projects, there is no mention at all throughout these debates on how this project will make our city safer from the #1 issue that is facing many people in this city, and that is gun violence. And on that same topic, I want to thank Temple University for implementing the Zero Eyes gun detection technology. These are the types of investments that can help improve our lives and improve our safety in North Philadelphia. Mr. President, there was a lot of testimony today about SEPTA and the importance of SEPTA in our region. And on September 12th, I joined you and other colleagues urging, and along with SEPTA, urging the Pennsylvania legislator and Governor Shapiro to allocate the $240 million in necessary funding to keep SEPTA fully operational. So without this investment, of course, SEPTA faces dire financial crisis, threatening essential service cuts, fare increases that will burden the daily commutes and wallets of Philadelphians. Hundreds of thousands in the city rely on SEPTA as their lifeline, including my friends, my family, my constituents, right? SEPTA's current deficit underscores a broader concern. How can the agency meet potential future operational demands when it struggles to sustain existing operations today? With SEPTA already stretched thin, expecting SEPTA to shoulder the financial burden is both unrealistic and unfair. We cannot rely on hypothetical projections of riderships when the reality is that these numbers are unattainable without addressing SEPTA's operational challenges. Moreover, it is important to acknowledge that entertainment draws a certain celebrity and social scene where those patrons, by and large, will drive to those entertainment venues. These factors make the ridership expectations for this large project unfeasible at best. As Vice Chair of Council's Transportation Committee, I have consistently fought for increased funding, improved efficiency, and enhanced safety for SEPTA. My lifelong riding experience on SEPTA on all modes of public transportation reinforces my commitments to advocating for a strong, reliable, and sustainable transit system for all Philadelphians. This is why I have raised critical questions about the impact of a large-scale entertainment venue on SEPTA's operations to the daily lives of our residents. So I urge everyone to watch the hearings that we've held in its entirety, right? The focus must remain on ensuring that any major project that's developed is developed responsibly and equitably. My priority will always be to advocate for what is best for my constituents and for Philadelphia. And we cannot ignore the realities facing SEPTA. Without immediate funding from the state and careful planning from stakeholders, this vital public service will continue to struggle with serious consequences for our city. And as the elected representative for the 5th District on City Council, I will remain steadfast in holding all parties accountable, ensuring that the people of Philadelphia are prioritized in any hearings that we have. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Young. There are no more speeches today. The chair recognizes Majority Whip Thomas for a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Council President. I move that council stands adjourned until Thursday, December 5th, 2024 at 10 a.m.
It has been moved and properly seconded that council stands adjourned until Thursday, December the 5th, 2024 at 10 a.m. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries, and everyone have a happy Thanksgiving, if that's what you celebrate.